Welcome. This is Astrology Insight Now, a weekly forecast program with astrology and other ways to help you make the most of your week and to heighten confidence for daily life. It's run by Pamela Cuccinell, that's me, the astrologer, and I invite you to find out more about my work at insightoasis.com. I look forward to your joining us every week. Please share with your friends, and here we go. Here we are, the first full week in April, as I get this forecast for April 6th, 2026. And this month, these next few weeks are the last pass of Uranus in the sign of Taurus. So as a result, since it's such late degree Taurus, basically about to crest into Gemini for good for about 8 years, we are not necessarily wrapping up the lessons of Uranus and Taurus, but we definitely are feeling the effects. And for each of us personally, that can mean different things. It certainly, if we look at things globally, has a lot to do with the tumultuousness of finance and the rise of cyber currency and the up and down and jack in the box quality of so many things that seem to be tangible one day and poof on the next. And so also, it seems to me that part of this Uranus and Taurus transit has really upped the ante for a sense of that out of the blue, wanting to grab possessions or declare a need for certain things that suddenly have tremendous value or seem to, or strong desire to. It's very capricious, and where in the world things will suddenly erupt, because Taurus is, among other things, about the earth and about the actual physical world in which we live. And as it's making its last pass, and we are presently in the waning moon cycle, I think we can expect to see more symbols or episodes of desperate grabs or last grabs for things that appear to be necessary in a tangible sense. On the other hand, there is a almost cavalier attitude to things that have material value and throwing money around for things that really are not that worth the effort, such as war. My goodness, so much money getting thrown into wars. And also a sense of, well, yeah, we don't really value or care so much about human health. This has been a wild ride, this Uranus and Taurus, and I wish I could say Uranus and Gemini is going to be a breeze. It will be different. We will have different topics of conversation. I wish I could say war is going away. Seems to be something that we will move through at a pace or understanding that it would be lovely to think humankind is ready to release its attachment for conflict. But anyway, so Monday, April 6th, the moon is in the sign of Sagittarius. And as this day, as this week opens, there can be a sense of, believe it or not, optimism a sense of wanting to explore new things, new terrains, a, a presentation of thoughts or things that people are excited about. It's a good day to explore ideas, certainly, and to put them out there. The thing that's really important to recognize about this day and the day after it is that as we're putting these ideas out and having conversations and levels of excitement, and air and fire sign people might be more pumped and excited and full of noise or ideas than others. And that can be really enticing and very exciting, but it's super important to recognize how your ideas are delivered. If we get very caught up in the storytelling or the concept or the idea, we can fail to pay attention or notice reactions people have that are basically letting us know, hey, pull back, tamp it down. This is too much right now. I'm not able to get a word in. And so this day is best expressed when we have an ear to listen as much as a story to share or excitement to let that out. That being said, this can be a tremendous day for finding people who are like working whatever it is you're trying to get off the ground. Again, remember it's the waning moon cycle. So energetically, we are in the zone where if we're finishing things up or working in things already in motion or trying to wrap up a concept or an idea or put it to rest, that's what waning moon cycles are really great at. It doesn't mean we can't start something new, but if you are starting something new today or tomorrow, it's super important that you pay attention, read the room, see how this information is being received, and also be alert for conflict. Now, conflict isn't necessarily bad. It certainly can get us to understand or talk or come to a point where we're able to move ideas in different ways, but we have to be willing to get the information out in a way that doesn't get somebody's back up. And so that's one reason it's very important today and tomorrow to make sure that what it is you're excited about or the idea you're working to get across is understood the way you want it to be understood. Because when it's not, people can feel attacked, pushed, manipulated, or like they're moving faster than they really are prepared, ready, or wanting to do. So the ideal is to allow the give and take throughout this day, tomorrow as well, to fold out in a way that is a win-win and works for everybody. And if someone's expressing hesitation, frustration, or that they're not being heard, the value is to be sure that that information is conveyed and respected in a way where people feel that their need to assert was understood and respected. Huge. Overall, though, Monday can be a really dynamic day. Lots get done, or certainly lots of ideas are shared. And then on Tuesday, the 7th, similar energy. In the midday, you may really experience that need to finalize or edit or clear up whatever message needs to be conveyed. Very, very important. These days are valuable to expend energy in healthy ways. If you can get outside, fabulous. Otherwise, whatever way you generally exercise, lubricate, motivate your body. Our bodies are wonderful gifts, and it's important to listen to them and make sure that they get that expansion that allows them to feel like they're being heard as well. And I have to remind myself of this regularly because I'm one of those people that is in my head or feeling a lot of things, and I basically have no earth in my horoscope. So earth is what tends to pull us down and remind us, yes, take care, 3 meals a day, or graze whatever is good for your body to keep it going, but also the movement, the exercise. The I remember when I was in college, oh wow, I took this speech course and I ended up with most of the people in the class were from the football team because they thought it was a quote gut course and they had to take something that was in some way related to English or something like that. And I took it because I really wanted to understand how to convey ideas better. And anyway, not to get in the weeds too much about this, but I'll never forget. His speech was all about how if you don't move certain muscles of your body on I don't remember if it was daily basis or at least a few times a week, the muscles atrophy. And, we're in our 20s then. I'm looking at this guy thinking, wow, because I just could see it clearly how that would happen, where a muscle, which is a, a living tissue, you don't pay attention to it. It just decides it's not going to be used anymore. So, anyway, Moon and Sag, Monday, Tuesday, give your body whatever it needs, a gentle walk, a dance, a vigorous hike, whatever your natural aptitude of movement is. So the moon goes void of course at 5:52 a.m. on Wednesday the 8th. When the moon is void of course, it's not making another geometric aspect to another heavenly body, and as a result, we are not emotionally attached to the outcome. So, depending on how long a void of course is, it becomes a period of time where you're best served to clear your desk, work on something you're already in process of working. Don't make an important call to a new client. Take a blind date, unless, of course, you don't really care about the outcome, because there's not that glue that connects, and it can be different depending on if that moon is transiting your horoscope or if you're in conversation, both of yours. I mean, it becomes a different thing energetically, but in most cases, the overall perspective is that just use this time to, well, if you have the luxury of floating or chilling or just enjoying your surroundings and not expecting any outcome, then that's a good way to spend it too. In this case, it's very brief. Void of course moon. The moon enters Capricorn at 8:04 a.m. And once that happens, this is a incredibly powerful cycle of that moon in Capricorn. The thing you want to be aware of, well, there's a few things, is that there's a picture in the sky with Mars and Uranus, which is just creating a lot of what might be serendipitous potential. And if you decide to take action on something that's come up or presented to you out of the blue, not the kind of thing you're usually interested in, but wow, you are just totally jazzed and into it, you need to be aware of specifically this, that there can be a kind of illusionary quality of whatever this is. You're not reading everything correctly. And that's fine as long as you don't sign the dotted line or commit to anything. You can enjoy the haze, but if you're confused, if it seems like something is not accessible or you don't have all the information or there's an elusive quality to it, as I said, you can go for the ride, but you want to nail it down. So you want to understand exactly all the details for what's being presented to you. If you don't, there's definitely this fall to earth quality that can happen for some of us as early as the evening, where, oh, whatever we thought was so wonderful and enticing, or, oh, yeah, no, I know. Well, he said this will happen, but I don't have all the details, but what an enticing offer. Again, just don't sign anything. Don't put yourself in a situation where there's no exit door. Know the landscape of what's around you. Moon's in Capricorn. It's asking for details, for practical information, for how you're going to get home, for what the situation's really going to bring, what the bottom line is, how much does it really cost? All those things are super important. Once we pass that kind of obstacle course that may be presented on this day, and it's not always a situation like I've just been inferring to. It can be, let's say you're an artist or a writer or a salesperson. And so you're chasing after this idea, this thing that seems like this is where I want to go with this. I don't have all the details. I'm not quite sure how it's all going to come together, but I'm super, super interested in pursuing this. And part of you is thinking, I I need to have more information. I'm looking for the elusive whatever, the caterpillar and Alice in Wonderland. I can't quite get to where I need to go. And as you're pursuing that idea, which people who are artists or salespeople, or I mean, they chase dreams all the time, and they take risks, they explore new territory, and that's all really important to do. You just want to know that at some point you're going to have to nail it down, whatever it is. It's got to be nailed down. And if you pursue something to the point where you're kind of avoiding what is a concrete reality, that's when bills must be paid or something just, I mean, in case of art, you might be working on something and you forget to close the ink jar and suddenly it pours all over your piece, or you don't save something on your monitor and it all goes away because of a power outage. So it's that coming down to earth piece that's really important to remember on this day. Once we get into the late evening, now we're in more a lesson learned, assess the day. Where are we at now? How do we make the most of tomorrow? And tomorrow, Thursday the 9th, is a really strong day for making things happen, getting things done. The part about it that is maybe a little challenging for some of us is there might be more than one road or more than one opportunity or more than one thing on our plate that we just can't resist. Just know that it's really hard to hold a full plate and get it successfully to where you need to bring it. And makes me think of a buffet. You know, there's all this wonderful food. And if you take a little of everything, it's usually too much. So it's super valuable this day to look at that buffet and take some time to really decide what on this or what is presented to me that I really want to prioritize. And take a little of each of that, or take a full portion of one of those things. But don't do the whole smorgasbord, or you won't be able to utilize your best effort. Because once we get past, about 5:30 in the evening, especially when we get into the next day, we're in really, really super energy to run to the finish line and make the magic happen. It's like Friday is popping. It is everything that has been put into place well really can take off, and not necessarily like totally complete, depending on what the project is, but overall satisfaction by end of day can be very, very strong. The moon goes void of course at 6:24 p.m. and Eastern time. If I haven't mentioned that, that's the time I usually use. And it's void until 7:55 p.m. when it enters Aquarius. So to maximize the energy on Friday the 10th, you really do well to get busy and prioritize and focus on those things that you want to complete, get off your desk, and be able to walk away into the weekend thinking, done, done, done. So when the moon is in the sign of Aquarius on the evening of Friday, it can be a lovely evening to network, connect with friends, have conversations, explore things that really tickle your mind and interest you. A very fun evening, or could be, especially if you utilize the past couple of days to feel like mission accomplished, all good. So the 11th and 12th also have that moon in the sign of Aquarius. Overall, I would say that Saturday the 11th is a good day to connect with people, have conversations that feel like you're really exploring community and ideas. The piece to be aware of, especially on the 12th, is that this moon in Aquarius is, as I said at the beginning of the conversation, its last connection will be in square to that Uranus-in-Taurus. So this weekend can be wonderful for building alliances, connections, having conversations that are about ideas and perhaps community bonding, social action, concepts that have to do with greater connections. But the important piece to recognize is that whatever you establish or talk about can also kind of turn around or reveal something in time that wasn't considered or wasn't discussed. And this can be as well as subtle as two people or a few people being very excited about something and seeming to be on the same page, and then eventually one of them bails or it just doesn't come together in the same way. Or it can be something that's more concrete, where you can be discussing something that you're conceptualizing or imagining about, and eventually or suddenly, it's Uranus, so it can feel sudden, like, oh wow, we didn't consider that. Like we set all this stuff up to do on Tuesday, and then we realize when we get to the restaurant, it's closed on Tuesday. So it's things like that to just be aware of, that you want to be prepared for an unexpected outcome. Not necessarily bad, especially if you didn't. I know it's time of Easter and actually Orthodox Easter at this point. You don't want to put your eggs all in one basket.
You have been listening to Astrology Insight Now. Please share with your friends, and if you'd like to make a donation, you can do so at astrologyinsightnow.com. Have a stellar week, and we hope to see you next time.